things, that's where you begin. There's always at least one song that leads off the worship proper. Sometimes there's more, and if you're reading in the 30-day cycle, there are always going to be multiple songs, unless you get into like Psalm 119, which has 178 verses, I think. So that one takes a little bit to get through. Then you have scripture readings. The scripture readings are drawn from a different lectionary than what we have on Sunday because they serve two separate purposes. The scripture readings for Sunday are based on a 3-year cycle, and they are tied to the church calendar. We talked about that in an earlier lesson. The scripture readings for daily prayer, for morning and evening prayer, are tied to a 2-year cycle, and they are not tied to the season. It's just a 2-year cycle to keep running through the Old and New Testament. So you cover the Old Testament over the course of 2 years, and you cover the New Testament over the course of a single year. So you get the New Testament at twice the rate as the Old Testament, which makes sense because the New Testament is significantly shorter than the Old Testament. And then occasionally some apocryphal things will be dropped in there as well. In between the readings, there's some sort of interlude response. Typically that's a canticle. And we talked about where the canticles were, and that chart on page 144 that shows you the recommended canticles.